Now I know you've heard the word exponents before, but the important thing to remember is exponents are just a way of notating or writing something in math. It's actually a simplification of writing the same number being multiplied by itself many times. That process of multiplying the same number by itself many times and communicating it is called a power. So let's dig into this idea of exponents, bases, and powers. First of all, if I had the number, let's use this example down here, 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, it takes longer to write it than it does to say it, and mathematicians are kind of lazy and don't want to write all that out. And so we take that number that's being multiplied by itself so many times and we write it larger, and that is called the base number. Sometimes it is also called the factor. The factor is the number that is being multiplied. So the base number in this case, for this example, is 2. Then the exponent just indicates how many times did we multiply that number by itself. Well, this is considered 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times. So because we took that 2 and multiplied it by itself 6 times, we write that little superscript up there, or that tiny little 6. That 6 is called the exponent, and again all it does is indicate how many times 2 is being multiplied by itself. When you put the base with the exponent, we call that entire thing the power. I meant that to be more purple, but we'll go with it. So that is the power. The power is 2 to the 6th, or you could say it 2 to the power of 6, or 2 to the 6th power. It all means the same thing though, that 2 is being multiplied by itself 6 times. So let's actually write some powers out. Letter A has a repeated multiplication of 6 times itself for a total of 2 times, 6 times 6. When you are asked to write it as a power, they want you to use that exponent. So this thing written as a power is 6 to the 2nd power, or 6 squared if you've heard that before. And then when they ask you the value of it, they just mean do it now. What is 6 times 6, or what is 6 squared? Well, that answer is 36, so that is the value that simplifies that expression. Here we have 6 times 6 times 6 times 6. Now nobody wants to write that, so we use the shortcut, which is the power of 6 to the 4th power. Now when we evaluate that, we get 1,296. Here we have 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Again, we don't want to write all that out. It's a waste of time, so we will write 2 to the 4th power. 2 to the 4th power, 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times another 2 is 16. And a lot of times we can use our calculators on this, so don't panic. 8 times 8 times 8, well, we can write that as 8 to the power of 3, or 8 to the 3rd power, or 8 cubed. All are the same way of saying that 8 is being repeatedly multiplied by itself 3 times. And I used my calculator and found out that that is 512. Here we have the number 4. That still can be written as a power, and that's going to be very important in the future when we do more math. So written as a power, this is 4 to the 1st power. So if you don't see an exponent, you can assume it's 4 to the 1st power, but this is repeatedly multiplied only one time. There it is, it's only self, so it's 4 to the 1st power, and that when you evaluate it is just 4. Alright, we're going to have you do some guided practice, and your directions are to write the expression as an exponent or a power, so that's exponential form, and find the value of the power. Pause the video. Alright, and here's what your answers should look like. Written in exponential form or as a power, it's 3 squared. When you evaluate, you get 9. 9 to the 8th power, I think, evaluates to that if I did it right on my calculator. And then when you have a repeated multiplication of an unknown value or a variable, you just write how many times that's multiplied by itself, which is t cubed. And if you're asked to find the value, well, you can't, because we don't know what t is right now, so we would still write t cubed.